What's going on, people? Welcome to the LV Live show. I am LV Live. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Once again, I want to thank all the new subscribers for coming by to my channel, man. It is truly, truly appreciated, man. Listen, man, happy belated Father's Day to you and yours. I had a beautiful Father's Day yesterday, man. It was fabulous. It's one of the greatest gifts, man, being a dad. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's really, really awesome. Uh, Done a lot of great things in my life, man, but that to me is at the top of the list, man, being a dad. So if you're a father out there, big shouts to you. You deserve it. And I hope you had a great day yesterday, right? Of course, it was beautiful yesterday. Summertime is great in New York City. As always, like I told you, go out and make sure you enjoy yourself, man. Barbecues, swimming, all that good stuff, right? Okay. So now that that's off the table, let's get right into it, right? I listened to Hoops Hype, right, with Michael Scotto, Ian Begley. Of course, it was Stephen Bondi. Apologize. And Big T, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through. Rondo, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live tonight. So they had a lot to say, man, about the Knicks and pretty much what's going to happen as far as this whole, free agency is right around the corner. The draft is right around the corner. So it's going to be a lot of moving parts. A lot of moving parts with the Knicks. So that's pretty much what they were getting at, right? So the first topic they brought up, right? The first topic they brought up was OG Anunoby, right? And what it looks like for him out there in that market. Okay, and let's be clear, right? OG Anunoby is probably the hottest free agent out there. Let's be honest, right? Everybody wants him. We understand how good of a player he is, right? Being a big wing, 6'8", 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", 3D wing. He could do it all right there, right? Look at what he did for the Knicks in that short amount of time when he was healthy, and how well we looked, right? So a lot of teams saw that. A couple of teams that are out there that Michael Scotto and Ian Begley and Stephen Bondi, of course, talked about was Philadelphia 76ers and the OKC Thunder, and how they're pretty much going to wind up throwing the bag at OG Anunoby. They said the floor, like starting for OG Anunoby is going to be about $35 million. Now, we're not surprised by that. We kind of knew that the price tag was going to be high for him. To me, he is at the top of the list as far as 3D wings go. So he's at the top of the list. So that's pretty much what was expected, right? So Philly's going to make a hard push. OKC's going to make a hard push. But that's all dependent on Paul George, right? Based on the Hoops Hype show, right? So basically, Paul George, everyone is watching to see what he does out there with the Clippers, right? Is he going to sign an extension with them, or is he going to leave? I don't think Paul George is going anywhere. I think he stays in LA. Remember, he's an LA guy. He's got his family out there. His mom and all of them are able to get to his games. Those things matter to these guys at this point in their career. And Paul George, I believe, is mid to late 30s. So he's going to want a big-time contract. He's not going to want anything small. He's going to want something in the 40s, right? So is Philly willing to go that far if the Clippers aren't willing to meet that? That's, I think, what Philly is really baiting on. If Paul George doesn't bite and he stays in LA, I think that's where they're going to make a really big push for OG Anunoby, right? So I think that that's what pretty much is going to solidify things with us in regards to keeping him, is based on how things go with Philly. I think if Philly can't get Paul George, I could see them throwing a kitchen sink at OG Anunoby and saying, listen, man, we'll give you 40 plus. I would not be surprised by that because they are desperate. But I can also see OG Anunoby saying, listen, the Knicks are going to give me anywhere between 30, 35 to 40. I'm staying. I think what OG Anunoby did this year for us, I think he felt it. I think he was happy with it. And I think his production proved it. I don't see him leaving and going to Philadelphia. I really doubt that. Coach, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live. But I don't see him leaving. I really don't. Also, too, guys, like I said before my last show, I don't see the Knicks making that deal. Sending IQ and RJ over to Toronto for OG Anunoby if there was no guarantee that he was going to stay. I don't think they do that. That was their big pieces. Those were the big pieces that they need to move. They don't do that deal if they don't think OG Anunoby is staying. And I think that I'm not really too worried about it. I think the Knicks get it done. I think OG Anunoby wants to be here. And I think now, of course, you don't want to jump out the window and say, okay, there's a definite, right? but I think we're pretty close. I think we're pretty close to him staying here for the long haul. I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think also, too, this is where OG Anunoby wants to be. I think he loved the atmosphere in the Garden. There's nothing like playing in the Garden when his team is winning and we're rocking, especially in the playoffs. I think he loved that energy. I think he likes playing with Brunson and Nova boys and, of course, Randall. So I think he winds up staying. I don't see him going anywhere. I really, truly don't. So that was OG Anunoby, right? That was the one thing they touched on with him. So then they moved over to Isaiah Hartenstein, right? And what's possibly the market out there for him. Now, we all know, right, that OKC is really the one that's really making a big push for him. But based on what Michael Scotto said, he spoke to some executives that they're pretty much, the Knicks are going to pretty much wind up giving Isaiah Hartenstein the max, right? And I said this on my last show, guys. You remember me saying it. I said the Knicks are going to go to the top. They're going to give him 4 years, 72.5. I don't think the Knicks are going to play around with this. But what Michael Scotto said, which was really on point, which was what I stated, was that they're going to pretty much wind up giving him a short-term deal, which is OKC. Now, like I stated in my last show, is he willing to take the 2 years for $50 million? Or is he willing to take the extra 2 more years guaranteed with the Knicks, with maybe a player option for the 4th? But I'm just saying, you're getting an extra year or 2 with the Knicks for $72.5 million. Of course, total contract. So what are you willing to do? So Stephen Bondy stated also too during the conversation that, you know, it all depends on iHeart and what is important to him. Remember, iHeart stated on the Roommate show with Brunson and Josh Hart that he was pretty much willing to take less when he had to stay with the Clippers, but then they decided to make the deal for John Wall, right? That was pretty much the end of his stay with the Clippers, right? But he was willing to take a shorter deal. He was willing to stay there for less. Is he willing to do that for the Knicks? But once again, it depends on what he wants and what he values pretty much where he's at in his career. Also, too, there's reports out there that he just recently had a baby, right? So if that is true, congrats to him. So once again, guys, we're getting into the stability stuff. Like I told you guys before, I talked about this. All these guys, right, they get to a point in the league where they want some place where they can call home. Josh Hart stated that before he signed that extension with the Knicks. He wanted a place he can call home. He's bounced around the league a lot. Now he can pretty much sit still and build a family, build a life. Remember, he just recently had twins. DiVincenzo just recently had a baby. All these things matter, guys. Like these guys aren't just basketball players. So they have personal lives outside of that. And the reason why LV is bringing that up, because once again, yesterday was Father's Day, right? So all these things matter to these guys. Stability, of course, financial freedom to where they're able to take care of their family, which they're going to get, but also a place where they can call home and not be jumping around the league with a newborn baby, all this other stuff. These things matter to these guys. And I don't think iHeart's leaving. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to take the money that the Knicks are going to give him. And I think because he wants to build here, and I think he likes the camaraderie that he's building with these guys. Listen, they stated the same stuff I said last show. They truly did. Now, once again, they stated that they don't know exactly, what he's going to be willing to do, or, it depends on what he wants. But I'm telling you what I think. This is all LV's thoughts, right? I think he stays. I think he goes because he likes stability and he loves being here. And I think also, to the camaraderie he's built with the Nova boys and Brunson and that whole crew. And I think for the first time ever in his career, he's found a home similar to Josh Hart, right? And I think he wants to build on that. Also, too, I think also that when the Knicks lock him into this deal, I think he's going to start center. And so then now the conversation turns to Mitch, right? And I'm going to touch on that later. But I don't think he stays and he's not starting at center. I don't think that happens. I think he stays, and I think he's going to be the starter going forward. I think that's going to be pretty much a big piece to what makes this work, right? So that was the iHeart piece. Also, too, I left the link down here at the bottom so you guys can go check this out on your own. It's a really good show that these guys had, and you guys can listen and check it out for yourselves, right? But I left the link in the description below for you guys to go check it out, right? So now they talked about Tibbs, right? What is Tibbs looking to get? I don't think this is hard. This is very easy. I mean, they threw out a number. They said possibly, $11 million a year, 3 years, 33 million. He's going to probably want him getting. I heard, Tibbs is looking for market value. I don't think Tibbs is going anywhere. Also, too, look at the camaraderie these guys built, right? Look at the camaraderie that Tibbs has built with the Nova boys, with everything. Look at the mindset. I don't know if you heard also Jalen Brunson's interview with Taylor Rooks. I'm also wanting to touch on that as well. He talked about Tibbs, and he discussed how, once you kind of get like a stigma or a label, it just stays with you. It doesn't matter. Tibbs had this bad label based on what happened in Chicago to Derrick Rose, and whatever happened in Minnesota, which was a zoo over there when he was there, and that's just stayed with Tibbs. People think that now with the Knicks, all these guys are doing is practicing hard, and Tibbs has got them running suicides. Based on what Jalen Brunson said, that's not what's happening. Now, yeah, they train during the offseason, yes, but majority of the season, these guys aren't practicing like that. A lot of it is the mental part of the game. Now, they're probably watching tape. They're going through walkthroughs. They're kind of figuring out what their keys and their cues are going to be. If this person drops down here, I mean, if you guys have never done a walkthrough in practice, I can't really explain it to you. I can tell you, but you're not going to really understand. I've done millions of them going to high school and college, but you just basically just walking through the plays to talk about what decisions you're going to make if this happens or this happens in a game, right? And that's basically what they do throughout the season. That doesn't sound like any hard type of practices. I've been through walkthroughs and they're the easiest practices. So that's what Tibbs does. It's more of a mental piece. And that's what Jalen Brunson stated. So that tells me that all these things that are being reported out there about him are just a lot of labels, man, and things that stuck to him because of whatever happened in Chicago, right? And I think that he's gotten a bad rap because of that. And the most important thing that I think James Dolan needs to identify, the team loves him. You see it in the way these guys have played. He's been to the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years. The last 2 years, he's made it to the second round. Last year, we were number 2 in the East. Brunson was second-team All-NBA. He has 2 All-Stars. He's gotten, look what he's turned Isaiah Hartenstein to. Look what he's turned Deuce into. Look at what these guys who were regular dudes or them other places, they've come here and they've turned to stars. Look at Brunson now being a superstar. Look at what he turned Randall into. This is all under Tibbs. So once again, you got to identify that. And I want you guys to go back and take a look at that roommate show, and you could see the love that they have for their coach. So why would you mess around with that? Why would you play around with that? I think that's something you just got to let it be, man. You don't mess around with that at all. Okay, also too, they also touched on, which is another big product, which is another big topic. As I sip my tea, LV Live. Good stuff. They talked about the contracts now with Brunson and with Randall, right? And what's the most important and who's going to probably wind up signing that extension this summer, right? So, as most people suspected, as I think, I don't think Randall signs that extension this summer. I really, really don't. I don't think they sign him. I think they're going to wait and see what he turns out to be with the shoulder. Coming off of 2 straight years of injuries. I mean, these guys didn't say this. This is just me speaking about it. I just don't think they sign him. He's going to have to prove a little bit more. Of course, him leaving CAA and coming back. I know there's been reports that means that the Knicks are going to lock him in. I don't think that happens this summer, especially all the moving parts that are going on with iHeart and OG Anunoby. I don't think that happens. Now, Stephen Bondy made a really, really good point in regarding Jalen Brunson's extension, right? So Brunson is a possibility. Brunson, of course, doesn't have to sign his extension this year, right? He can go into next year and just sign the big supermax. But there's another way you can look at this too, based on what Stephen Bondy stated, right? You can look at it to where Brunson can sign that 4-year, $156 million deal, right? He will go into free agency sooner because of the deal. And then when he goes into free agency, then he'll be able to sign the max as a veteran player, which is probably going to be bigger money, right? Then also, too, remember, guys, during that time, that's when the CBA and that television contract stuff comes through, all the things we've been talking about. That changes everything now for Brunson and what it looks like for his contract. Big time. So now it kind of leans into possibly him might, possibly signing that 4-year, $156 million deal this year because of those things. Now, of course, he could wait next year and just sign the Supermax, but if you're looking to kind of help the team out, if you're looking to possibly go into free agency earlier and then be able to sign that max contract under the veteran, umbrella, because you'll be considered a veteran based on the number of games he's played, being in the league as long as he has, of course. That could be possibly an option. So that's something to think about. Do I think he signs the deal this summer? I think it's a 50-50. But if he does, that'll be fabulous for the Knicks. That'll be a great look. Also, too, he also touched on the Bogdanovic thing, right? So here's the thing with the Bogey piece, right? And it was Sean Marks, I think that's his name. He's the capologist, I guess that's what you want to call it, right? He basically stated that if the Knicks were to sign Bogey, right, lock him into that $19 million deal, now that puts them automatically in the second apron, right? So you guys know the second apron, you're limited to do a lot of different things as far as trades and as far as money goes. You can't really send money in a deal. Like, it's a lot of restrictions with that second apron. So I can see the Knicks locking Bogey in, right? Because so he can't get away, and the Knicks pretty much have him as I think, honestly, as like a trade option. And moving him. Possibly this summer, maybe even a couple of months. I'm not sure. But I could see them moving him with Mitch, because once again, it's going to be really hard to keep Mitch and Ihart on the team with making that salary. Also, too, the playing time situation, right? Ihart, Mitch might be in his feelings, man, because Ihart's taking over starting center, and I think that's what's going to happen. So what LV Live would do, I would move Bogey. Everybody focus now. I would move Bogey and Mitch and maybe a pick, send him to Chicago to get Caruso and go get Drummond. That's what I would do. And Drummond be the backup to Ihart and have Caruso come off the bench to fill in, because Caruso can run a point sometimes, but he could also run that combo 2 guard. He could play the 2. He could play the 3. He could do many different things with Caruso. And I love Drummond in that middle. He's a rebounding monster. That's what I would do. Coach says, where are the minutes for Caruso? Coach, I'm going to get to you in a minute, Coach. So that's how I would do that deal. And that's how I would do the whole situation with Mitch and Bogey. Because the reality is this, right? If the next big deal the Knicks are going to pretty much make, because everybody else is locked in, guys. Of course, Josh Hart's locked in. Brunson's not going anywhere. So Flamethrower. Now you got Ihart. Now you got OG. And of course, Randall, right? So now you got Deuce. I don't think Deuce is going anywhere. He's a Tips favorite. He's part of, Tips culture. He's not going anywhere. Who else is like a really good contract out there that you could really move? It's going to be Bogey. So that's what I'm saying. And then if you put him with Mitch, I think that's a perfect move. I think you ship them both out of here and you bring in somebody to back up Ihart, and then you bring in Caruso as a combo guard that can play the 1, the 2, or the 3, and he's a defensive monster out there. 6'6", athletic, big, can defend. And if anybody gets hurt, Caruso can fill in because, like I said, he can play the 1, 2, or 3. And he is a Tips culture type of player. So that's what LV Live would do. Okay, so with that being said, right, also, too, they also touched on Precious Achiuwa, right, who I love. Bronx kid. Would definitely love to bring him back. But with the Bogdanovic deal, like, it's going to be hard to bring him back. And Ihart, right? Really the Ihart deal. Like, it's going to be hard to bring him back. So, if you send out Bogey and Mitch, maybe you can work out something. But then because of how Precious played, I don't know. I don't know how much the Knicks could give him. Because what if his market is more? Remember, he's young, man. He's only 25 years old. So he's going to probably want to get more money, especially how he played with the Knicks. So I think somebody out there is going to really give him some money based on how he played. But I can also see it to where, he takes it to stay here because he knows he's going to play. Tibbs loves him. He's going to get minutes. But you got to see exactly what that looks like. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of all right. If you want to be honest, as far as percentages go about Precious, I think it's like a 90-10. 90% that he walks, 10% that he stays. All right. Okay. Also, too, right, what they did touch on. Last thing they touched on was the draft, right? And what does it look like? The Knicks have the 24th and 25th pick. And what does it look like, right? Who are they out there, right? Everyone's talking about Ryan Dunn. Now, I gave you guys a breakdown last show of Ryan Dunn and what I think of him. I've watched a little bit more tape on him. He's kind of grown on LV. He's kind of growing on me. And here's the reason why he's growing on me. The reason why Dunn has grown on me is because he's a big wing. He's a big wing. And what I'm seeing a little bit, I'm going to throw it out there to you people, and you guys let me know if LV's bugging. What I'm seeing a little bit of, I'm seeing Herb Jones. I'm seeing that. And remember, everybody on here has been talking about getting Herb Jones. Herb Jones. Everybody's been talking about Herb Jones like crazy. I like Herb Jones. Just not at that price. But if we can get a Herb Jones, a broke man's Herb Jones, at a bargain price, I'm willing to do it. The more I watch this kid, man, he's a defensive beast, man. I mean, he's a monster on the defensive end. He fits the Tibbs culture probably better than anybody. And most importantly, he's a big wing. And we need that. If OG Anunoby goes down, which we know he's going to get hurt. Let's be honest, people. I'm going to touch on that too, because they talked about stipulations in the contract. I'm going to touch on that in a second. We know he's going to get hurt. We already know it, right? So if you have a kid there that can maybe fill the role for a little bit, and maybe you can mix and match his minutes with Josh Hart or with Caruso if we can get him, whatever, to stabilize the ship until OG Anunoby comes back, fabulous. Because I think this kid has it, man. He's athletic. But most importantly, he's big, man. He's 6'7", 6'8". He's big. They list him at 6'6". With shoes on, he's bigger than that. He's about 6'7", 6'8". So that means he's a beast on the wing. And you need that in this league. You need athletic guys on the wing that could defend, block shots, and all that stuff. Now, LV said it. I don't want to deal with a project. I know my words, right? I get it. But I think I'm going to have to take a swing on him because of that. And I think the same people that helped Deuce out get his jumper together, they're going to have to work overtime to help this kid. Because if the Knicks can get him, and you can put him on the wing, and he can give him, I know Tibbs doesn't like to play rookies, man. I know that. But if what this kid presents can get Tibbs to open his eyes and say, wow, look, I got to find him some minutes for this kid because I like him, I think he could be a perfect piece to what it is the Knicks like to do. And I think he can make a splash next year because one thing you can't coach or you can't motivate him on is to play defense. He that's what he defends. He defends. And listen, I understand that, this league is tough, but listen, if he's coming off the bench, maybe giving, 10 to 15 minutes a night, 6 fouls, he's going to defend, he's going to play hard. You need that. You never know. Certain stretches of the game, he might come in, make a couple of stops here and there that could really give the Knicks a lift. So I think the Knicks should take a swing on the kid. Now, what I was saying before about the OG Anunoby thing, right? Stephen Bondy and these guys are also stating that, and Ian Begley stated that he would not be surprised if the Knicks put in that contract some stipulations on games played. So it's like, all right, cool. Let's say he gets the Knicks for 37.5 or 38 million, close to 40. Knicks could possibly put some incentives in there to say, hey, listen, look. Gravity, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live, man. Kind of going through the Hoops Hype podcast. Michael Scott and those boys, and they kind of talked about a lot of good things, man. Gravity, appreciate you coming through rocking with your boy LV Live tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised, how many, if you, of course, stipulations, how many games you played, how many games you played in the playoffs, right? Also, too, you can give them perks, right? If you make all defensive team, if you make an all NBA team, if you make your first all-star team, right? So you can kind of balance it out like that. But the stipulations in there too. They think the Knicks are going to wind up doing that. But my biggest concern, right? My biggest concern with all that is I don't want those stipulations and things like that to push them away. That's what I don't want. I don't want him to see those stipulations and then Philly come to the table and say, listen, man, we ain't giving you no stipulations. You can do what you want. We're giving you 42. Now, man, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live tonight. Hope all is well with you, sir. Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live tonight, man, on this Monday. Also, too, man, listen, man, for everybody here's a father, man, happy belated Father's Day to you and yours, man. So that's what I'm worried about with the stipulations with the contract, right? I just hope that OG Anunoby doesn't scare him off and he's like, all right, I'm out of here. Or is there an understanding that, listen, man, this is where you want to be? Because, remember, the reports were that, when he spoke to his agent, he said he wants to come to New York. He didn't say he wanted to go to Philly. He didn't say he wanted to go to OKC or LA. He said the place he wanted to go to was New York. That's what the reports were. So hopefully that's a positive thing. And if they have those stipulations in the contract, he understands that. And he's kind of saying, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I get it and I understand it. Let me lock into this and that's it. But the perks are, you make all defensive teams, all those other things, you get this type of bonus or whatever. So I think that's that. All right, come on. Let me go in the chat here. Let me see what everybody's rapping about. Okay, I see coaches up here just getting busy up here. What you talking about here, coach? Hope it ain't no cat talk, coach. Okay. Coach says, where are the minutes going to be for Caruso? Coach, Caruso's going to come off the bench. Caruso could play anywhere between 20 and 28 minutes, right? I think he can get that. And here's the reason why, Coach. He's interchangeable. You could play him anywhere. And I would love him out there with Deuce. So you have him and Deuce at the top of the key. Beautiful. Beautiful. I would love that with Caruso. Now, also, too, guys, if we cannot get to Caruso, who I've always loved, and I talked about it last year. We talked about it during trade, remember? What about Tyus Jones? I love Tyus Jones. He's out there. He's available. So that'll be a good backup for Brunson to run that second unit. Like we've always talked about, Deuce is not a guard, right? He's not a point guard. He's more of a combo off guard. He's like an Iverson type of player. He's not really a point guard. He's small, but he's not a point guard. He's just not. You can maybe have Tyus Jones with him, right? I talked about it last year. We were talking about who we were going to get. We wanted to get Bogey, but everybody wanted to get either DeJounte Murray or they wanted to get Tyus Jones, right? So I like Tyus Jones. Okay, Coach says, if you trade Bogey and Mitch, right, where's the major trade going to be? Okay, well, listen, here's the thing, right? To me, if there's a major trade out there, Coach, a major trade, it's going to involve someone like Randall. Because most teams are going to want something back in return, right? And the biggest, Brunson's not going anywhere, okay? But the biggest guy on the Knicks outside of Brunson is Randall. So, to me, the only people I'm moving Randall for, I said it before, is KD, Giannis, and maybe Devin Booker. That's it. But from what I'm hearing, the reports I'm hearing is that the Suns ain't trying to do nothing. They're trying to run it back with them boys. So Randall's not going anywhere. Okay. Coach says, I want Shake to get a shot. Shake Milton's not playing, man. Coach, he's not playing. He's just not. I don't think he's going to still be on the roster. Big Task says, LV, not to get off subject, but I wanted to ask if you ever heard of the rapper named Top Dog. Nah, man, I never heard of him, man. What is he? Is he new or is he old school? I never heard that guy, man. And I'm a hip hop dude, but I never heard that guy. Was he from New York? Oh, he's drinking his tea, man. Sorry. Okay, so Coach says Precious can walk too, and replace Precious with a rookie. Okay, so here's the thing, right, with that, right? Because Precious is really, he's playing like the 4 spot, right? So remember, Randall and OG Anunoby are like interchangeable. Because remember, you could put OG Anunoby at the 4. And you could put when Randall comes out, right? So, Precious is just an extra body to be there. But if you have a Drummond in there, then you have Caruso playing the 3. OG Anunoby could play the 4. Oh, Caruso could play the 2. There's a lot of moving parts you could do if you were to bring in someone, like I stated, like a Caruso, right? So you don't really need somewhat Precious Achiuwa so much there. So hence, to your point, he could walk. That's why, because there's only but so many minutes in a basketball game, guys. So you got to understand, Tibbs is only going to play. If you have those guys, if everybody's back fully loaded, right? If everybody's back fully loaded, how many players do you think the Knicks play? The Tibbs plays? You say about 9. Tibbs goes 9 deep during the season, maybe 10 to spell minutes and give guys time and give guys like some minutes during certain games. I think the top that Tibbs goes during the season is 10. Playoffs, I think he goes like 8. But I think he winds up going 9. 9 and 10 during the season, right? So remember, there's only but so many minutes. It gets 48 minutes. So you got to understand, if guys are getting in and out the lineup, it's just interchangeable. So let's say we get Drummond, right? So Drummond's coming in for Ihart. Randall comes out and needs a breather. OG Anunoby's going to drop down to the 4. You put Josh Hart at the 3. Then you put Caruso at the 2. Or the 1, excuse me, you have Deuce in there. Josh Hart comes out. Randall comes back in. OG Anunoby comes out. Then you put Flamethrower in. Flamethrower goes to the 2. Caruso goes to the 3. Randall goes to the 4. Drummond's in there. Deuce is still in there. Then eventually Brunson comes back in. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's how the rotations will go. So within that rotation, I don't see a place really for Precious Achiuwa. Now, once again, this is with guys being healthy, right? We're not talking about guys getting injured. And of course, foul trouble and all that good stuff, right? But I'm just saying, you see the mixes and the matches I'm doing. Like, this is what happens. Then before you know it, the game's over. Guys didn't really play that much, but certain guys are going to play. They're going to play a lot. But only the guys that Tibbs wants, right? I see a place to where if he was to draft Ryan Dunn, he would give him some minutes here and there. But that's why I said maybe 10 minutes here and there. And there's going to be some games he doesn't even play. Right? So Coach says 9. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Coach. I just don't see Tibbs playing certain people a certain, you know what I mean? I'm just being honest with you. So that to me, that's the importance of the decision that they're going to make with the Bogey and the Mitch situation. I'm just being honest. I think a move gets made. But I don't see, guys, a major move happening. And the reason why is because the only major move, here's the major moves out there, guys. I don't think Paul George is coming to the Knicks. He's not coming to the Knicks. I don't see that happening. Is Kawhi coming? No, he's not. Who else is out there? The only person is Giannis. Is Giannis coming? I doubt it. Is KD coming? I doubt it. Who else is a top-tier player that's going to come here? I don't see it. I don't see it. And you guys know I want Mikal Bridges ASAP. I want him, but I mean, the more and more I'm just watching the board and seeing what's going on, I don't see them making that move. I don't see Brooklyn doing that. I just don't. And I've talked about it numerous times with you guys. I just don't see it happening. Coach says, I want a rookie on that bench when injury happens. Okay, cool. Like, listen. I like that. But that's what I talked about earlier about the importance of Ryan Dunn, right? I think that's why they draft him. Right, Coach? I think that's why they draft him. I think they draft him to be that piece, right? I think he could be that piece to come in and help out on the wing with an OG Anunoby. Especially OG Anunoby goes down, right? I can see that happening. So, I mean, that to me, that's the only kid I would draft. Everyone, all them other picks and stuff like that, I would probably move off of those. Maybe put them in a package with somebody or something like that. But that's the only kid I would get. I would really, really make a push for Drummond. I really, really would. I think he's perfect to what it is the Knicks want to do. Rebound, defend. I think he's perfect. And he's inexpensive. Coach says Ingram. No, I'm not. No, Coach, I'm not touching Brandon Ingram, man. No way I'm touching him. I'm not touching him, man. He'll fold up like tissue paper out here, man. He'll fold up. Listen, man. This ain't the place for everybody, man. I don't care what other dudes do in other places. I don't really care. Unless he ain't a top dog. If he's a Giannis or guys that you know can perform at the highest, yeah. I'm not bringing these second-tier stars. Because I know he's going to fold up, man. He's going to fold up out here. Do you understand the pressure that's in the city? It's like 3,000 pounds on your shoulder, man. That's how heavy that jersey is. It's the heaviest jersey in the world, man. There's no place like it. No place love. They love you when you're on top, and they tear you to pieces when you start looking like trash out there. Ask Patrick Ewing. I'm just being honest with you, man. So I don't know. And then I saw Ingram in the FIBA last summer, man. He didn't look. He on that fly guy stuff, man. He reminds me of like, yo, man. He reminds me of what's the boy we let go of, man? That Tibbs in like Cam Reddish. He reminds me of a Cam Reddish, man. And I like Cam Reddish, and I like Ingram, but I understand that in this city, he's gonna have a problem with Tibbs. He's gonna have a problem with Tibbs. Tibbs is different, man. He's a different type of guy, and it's not that Tibbs is gonna push him hard in practice and none of that else. It's just Tibbs has certain ways about him, things that he does that certain players just don't like to be coached. You know what I'm saying? They don't like to be coached hard, and Tibbs is gonna be on you, but he's gonna push you to be the best. Certain guys like that, man. They like that type of coach. Ingram's gonna fold up, man. He's gonna fold up. He's gonna have a hard time. He's gonna be running for the hills. So I would not touch Ingram, man, at all. But to follow up with your other point, I do agree with getting Ryan Dunn, and that is specifically to kind of sit in a situation to where if OG, well, not if, he is going to get hurt. Let's just be honest with you. He's going to get hurt. So if when he comes out, you can slide that kid in there and maybe give him playing time. And if you're not too sure about him, remember, you still got Josh Hart playing at 3. And when Josh Hart comes out, you could put that kid in there to spell Josh Hart. So, to me, and here's the thing, too, guys, with the whole shooting piece, right? With Ryan Dunn. That's in college, man. This is the league. The league is way different. The league, the floor is more wide open. Now, what I do know is some people do better in the league than they do in college. College is like, old school basketball, man. The zones, it's just really, really hard, man, in college. College is not like the league. The league is wide open. Now, of course, you're playing against the best of the best, so it's going to be harder, but it's a lot easier to score in the league, man. It just is. It's just a wide open game. So you never know. This kid might be, the league might suit his skill set better than college, just being honest with you. So, and he's a local kid, man, Long Island guy. So, I think it'll be a nice reunion for him. But I like him, man. I like the kid. I watched his tape. I think you guys should go check him out, man. He's kind of a grew on LV, man. So I would take a swing at the kid. But it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting all season. Listen, guys, remember, we got the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. Actually, I'm about to get ready to go up here and watch this game. Watch Boston end it all for them boys. Luka crying baby self. He's about to be finished. And watching Boston, man, this is a direct. This is making LV lick his chops, man. Because I think the Knicks fully loaded gives Boston problems, man. I think we give Boston problems. I'm not saying we beat them, but I think we give them problems, man. Matching up. I just think we give them problems. We really, really, really do. And the reason why is because we defend And most importantly, we got the pieces that can really push Boston to the brink. I said it last time. 808 Empire State, man. I appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live. Man, it's your first time coming through the show. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you coming through rocking with me and my crew, man, tonight. Appreciate you. 808 Empire State said we beat them. Yeah. I don't want to go that far. I want to give Boston their respect. But yo, man, seeing what they doing out there and how the Knicks was playing, you saw what the Knicks did to them, right? In Boston, a couple weeks before the playoffs. We blew their doors off by 35. People say, oh, they wasn't taking it seriously. They played everybody. They played everybody, man. It wasn't like they sat their bench. Anyways, I appreciate the content. Yo, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you for subscribing to me and my crew, man. Thank you so much for that. So that's what I think, man. I just think we got something special here, man. We really, really do. And watching Boston, seeing that, I said, listen, man, the Knicks, I think we don't really have to go out and really get a star. Before I thought that, but the way the league is kind of changing, also too with the second apron and all these contract restrictions, you're going to really have to build your team. And honestly, it's going to be really built on 2 stars, and you're going to have to build around and get really good pieces. You got to really do your homework on these players and get your pieces together and find pieces that match the culture. And I think that that's what the Knicks are doing. They're not out there trying to make the big splash because, believe it or not, the big splash is not available. So you got to try to find pieces that really match what it is that you guys are doing. So I think the Knicks are in a really, really good place to get some pieces in here. And Ryan Dunn, coming out of Virginia, is a really tips type of player. So you can get a young player like him and build around him, let him get his minutes and learn the league around Brunson, Ihart, Josh Hart, of course, DiVincenzo, Randall, Deuce. Great guys in that locker room, man. And so it's exciting. So that's just what I think the Knicks do this offseason. All right, but listen, guys, that's my show. I'm LV Live. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button, people. Right. Also, too, if you're watching this on replay, if it's your first time coming through, please subscribe to the channel. Also, too, leave comments. I do respond. All right. But listen, I appreciate everybody coming through, rocking with LV Live tonight. That's my show, and I'm out of here, people. Peace.